I did look like a bit of a weirdo going around Primark putting my hand in loads of jars. Hi, hello, if you're new here, I'm Natalie, and today's video I'm so excited about because we'll be putting together my first ever TBR jar, and I want to bring you along for the journey and show you what kind of prompts and some of the books that are actually going into making up the jar. At the end of the video, of course, we'll be picking some books, as well as these types of videos, TBR reading lists. I also post cozy reading vlogs and I do reading challenges, so if that sounds like something you're into, then definitely hit subscribe. I'd love to have you. But without further ado, let's tackle this TBR. I try to read as eclectically as possible, and so far I do manage that quite well. The genres that I mainly read are horror, literary fiction and fantasy. I did used to read romance all the time, but I don't tend to gravitate towards it as much anymore. I was trying to find prompts to put in the TBR that fit across multiple genres, and I think we've done quite well. Said jar, I think this is actually quite tall, but I can get my hand in, so that was the most important thing. I did look like a bit of a weirdo going around Primark putting my hand in loads of jars, but we've got a jar. Doesn't go with my bookshelf, but don't worry about that. We'll just kick the lid off. Oh, it's really echoey. Hello. What have we got going in here? I printed a list off. I looked on loads of different pages on Pinterest by loads of different creators and just took ideas from each page that I saw and printed them all off, as well as my 25 for 25, they're in here, and a few extra that I definitely want to get read this year. We've got a book inspired by a historical event. I don't know why I've printed these so small. That is such a silly thing to do. A book featuring an amateur sleuth, like a funny cozy mystery. A book with an object in the title. Read the last book you saw on TikTok. Thought that'd be quite fun. If I get that one, I could just scroll through and the first book I come across is the one I've got to read. A book by multiple authors. Could be like an anthology, couldn't it? Read a book from an author who blurbed your favourite book. A book with a rainbow cover. A short story anthology. I already have one in mind for that. A book with a protagonist that's at least 50 years old. A book that's been on your TBR for the longest. God, I can't even tell you what that is. I'd have to go back and look on my Goodreads. Read a sequel. Yeah, I do need to get on and finish some of these series that I've started. Literally just scrunching these up. I've seen people fold it up so nicely, but I'm just not one of those people. A book set in a country that you've never been to. A book with a non-human protagonist. Interesting. A book about plants or poison. A book published this year, so that's good, because if I haven't got one of the books that are in here, then I guess it means we're going to be going book shopping. A book on display at your local library. I like that one. From an author you've never heard of. A translated work. Yeah, I've got loads of translated fiction on my TBR. Perfect. A book that takes place in the future. Oh, we do love a dystopian over here, don't we? I don't know if you can actually even see. Oh, you can see the jar. Look, it's filling up nicely. Maybe it's a good job I got a longer one if I'm not going to fold them up neatly. A book with flowers on the cover. That's all the tiny little prompts done, and it's filled up, what, a quarter of the jar? And then the ones that have left to go in there are my 25 of 25, which if you haven't seen that video yet, you should definitely go and check it out. And then I have added a few extra prompts and a few extra books in there that I definitely want to get read this year. I'll separate them out and I'll go through the ones that you wouldn't have seen yet. The Gilded Ones by Namina Fornar. Next book in the Magnolia Parks universe, which is a bit of a cheat really, because I know that I definitely want to read those. Read an arc. Read a fantasy hardback. I've got so many books that I pre-ordered that are in the most beautiful hardbacks that are sitting upstairs on my fantasy shelf. and I need to get those read. Read Stephen King actually do it? Because I keep saying I've got 3, 4, 5 of his books. Have I read any of them? No. So I actually need to see if he's for me or not, because people either love him or they think he writes too many words. We'll see. Read a sci-fi, the next Robin Hobb book, because I need to finish that series. Read an extreme horror, because I have a couple on my shelf. Also, How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. The plan for each month is I'm going to pick 6 books or 6 prompts out of this TBR jar and hopefully read them. I'm also going to read 3 books off of my 25 of 25. I'm also setting up a bookish bingo, which will be included in my spring reading plans vlog. I'll explain what that is on that video, but I'll choose 1 a month from there. And I usually read between sort of 10 and 18 on most months. So it will leave me lots of room to add other books to my TBR, because there are some new releases that I'm really excited about, which again, I will talk about on my spring reading plans, which will be up soon. Let's do what we came here for, and that is to choose 6 books or prompts, and then we can add them to March's TBR. First one, oh, it's a small one. That means it's a prompt. Hopefully it's one that I've got in mind. A book with a place in the title. I found 2 books that fit this prompt. The Good Women of China, which is actually a book on my 25 for 25, and also Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm going to choose this one because it ticks something off both lists, one off 2025 and one off the book prompts. The Good Women of China by Zimran, for a book with a place. Next prompt. Oh. The Blue Book of Nebo, which I'm really excited to read. We're winning so far. For the sake of honesty, I did just pull out another big one like this, and it was another one off of my 25 of 25, and I feel like that's cheating a little bit, so I'm going to look for, I've put it back in, I'm going to look for another little one, see what this one says. A book that takes place in a library. I know exactly the book to choose for this. I'm about out of breath because I just had to run upstairs. It's actually 2 books that I could have chosen for this. One of them is The Library of Mount Char by Scott Hawkins, or Mark Lawrence, The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which is also set in a library. But this is the one that I've had on my TBR for longest. So we're going with this one. Book number 4. Another little prompt. A book with a rainbow cover. I haven't actually got a book with a rainbow specifically on the cover that I can think of, but this cover has lots of colours in it. Chain Gang All Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. A dystopian sci-fi examining the American prison system, where prisoners are thrown together to fight to the death, recorded on live television, I think. Pick number 5. Pick number 5. It's another one off my 25. The Hacienda by Isabel Carnes. Gothic haunted house with a bit of a love story in it, I believe. A woman marries a widower, moves into his house, and then is haunted by his dead wife, or the house is sentient, I'm not sure, but I've heard amazing things, so I'm happy with that pick. Last pick, I think we need to go for a little one. A book that has won an award. I know what book I want to read for this. Orbital by Samantha Harvey, and it's only short. How many pages is this? 135 pages. It's a literary fiction that looks at what is life without Earth and what is Earth without humanity. I mean, it won the Booker Prize. I'm excited to see what it's all about. I'm pretty happy with this stack, to be honest. I'm looking forward to reading them. On that note, as always, thank you for watching. This will become a new series, so I'll be doing this every month. So if you had fun, definitely subscribe so you're kept up to date with when I post. So until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.